Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Ginger Nut Marketing Podcast. My name is Phil Burse. For any regular listeners, I apologize profusely. I have not posted in quite a few weeks. And there's a very good reason for this. The reason is I have bought a house. So it has been a long-term goal of mine to get my own house, my own forever home with my family and my children. And I've done that in August. Let's just say it needs a little bit of work, so I've been a little bit distracted these last 4 weeks. So again, my apologies, but enough about me. Let's talk about you. You want to do some more learning, so let's get straight to it. Okay, I want to talk about digital leadership in 2019, specifically the 5 steps to success. So I run a 6-month experiential course called Digital Leaders. Coincidentally, the next cohort starts in October. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave some details in the show notes. And on this course, we talk about 2 key things. We talk about digital in terms of how to roll out digital marketing campaigns and how to be better online and how to power the growth of your business through digital. But we also talk about leadership and the softer skills behind the more harder digital marketing skills that you need to be successful. And I just feel in 2019, for any marketeers, for any business leaders, owning that term digital leadership is key to the success of both your company or organization and for the success of your role. So I'll give you the 5 steps and then I'll go through them in a bit more detail. So step number 1 is educate yourself on digital. Step number 2, understand that digital leadership is about inspiring change within your business or organization. Number 3, integrating digital into your overall business growth strategy. Don't focus on it in isolation. Number 4, understand the importance of an agile approach. Plan, execute, learn, optimize. And then finally, number 5, become great at analysing and then presenting campaign results. Okay, so there's the summary. So I'm going to go through them one by one. Number 1, educate yourself on digital. The first and foremost thing to understand is not everybody is an expert on digital and specifically digital marketing. And I think that's fine. The reason it's fine is because as an industry, as a sector, it's still relatively new. If you think about Google, is pretty much 20 years old this year. In terms of Google AdWords, for example, we're still in a relatively new industry in terms of digital. And I wouldn't be worried about that. I'd embrace that and I'd become part of the learning process. Or should I say, I would encourage you to make learning about digital part of your overall learning process, especially if you're in a marketing or a leadership role. So there's a number of different ways you can learn about digital. The obvious one is you could take a physical course in the real world at a local college or institution, learning institution, maybe a 1-year course or a 2-year course, could be a BTEC, could be a HND, it could be a more vocational one, it could be a more academic one in terms of maybe a master's in digital marketing. But I think you can learn the vast majority of what you need to learn in terms of practical skills from things like podcasts, from online tutorials, from YouTube, from websites like Udemy. There's so much content out there that you can kind of jump into in quite a bite-sized way. I like Udemy. I think it's got some great courses on there. I also think podcasts are one of the best ways to learn. And obviously, if you're listening to this podcast, I'm hoping that's part of the reason why you're here. You're here to learn more about digital marketing techniques. So educating yourself about digital is the first step. The first step to being really good at something is to educate yourself. So in order to become an effective leader and lead other people, you've really got to get up to speed with the latest techniques. Number 2, let's go back to my list. Number 2 is about understanding that digital leadership is about inspiring change. It's about digital transformation, which is another huge topic in the business world right now. Transforming the minds of people towards a more digitally led strategy is difficult. It takes time, and it springboards directly off step number 1, which is educating yourself about digital. You need to embrace the fact that the process of digital transformation is A, going to take time, B, there's going to be lots of questions and queries and conflicts along the way. You're going to get challenged a lot about why to embrace a more digitally led marketing campaign. And that's okay. Be okay with that. Be cool with that. And just know it's a long-term journey. Just know you've got to get from point A to point B. There's a number of different steps in the middle. You might need to do a number of different presentations. You might need to do a number of different exercises to prove or to demonstrate the value of digital. And that's okay. But your role fundamentally is to lead that process. Your role is to take your business or organization from where they are now to a place where they fully adopt the digital vision that you have for your business. If you can do that, you will be a leader. And if you can do that and you genuinely believe it's the right thing to do, it will be a tricky process. So exercise your right to yell and scream privately sometimes. Find somebody who can help you along the way, where you know that you can vent to and express your frustrations along the way. I've done it a few times in a few organizations, both as a marketing manager director and with Elephant Digital, and every single time it's full of challenges. That's fine. You have to embrace that and go with it. So that's number 2. Number 3 is about integrating digital into your overall business growth strategy. So many people, when they approach me, say, Phil, I want to adopt, I want to implement a digital marketing strategy for my business, and that's it. That's the future. That's all I'm focused on now for 2019. I don't want to talk about anything else. I don't want to debate anything else. I've got to get digital integrated into my marketing campaign. And I normally say at this point, okay, that's great. And I think that's definitely the end goal. But actually, there may be a few steps before that. And more importantly, the first question is why? Why are you trying to integrate digital into your marketing campaign? Is it a vanity thing? Is it because you believe it will make you look good if you've adopted a more digital approach? Because that's challenge number 1 you might want to think about. Make sure it's not just for vanity's sake. Number 2 is it going to add value? Is it going to create more revenue? Is it going to drive profitability? Is it going to build the brand? These are the key things that business owners, business leaders, directors of companies are going to ask you straight away. I hear what you're saying, but will it add value to our brand? Will it drive revenue? Will it increase profitability? You need to be ready for this question. And the answer doesn't always have to be, yes, it definitely will. The answer might be, yes, I believe it could, if we give it a try, if we explore it, and if we consider adopting digital as part of our growth strategy. But what's more important really from your own leadership perspective and you developing as a leader is understanding the drivers behind the business. So you need to spend time with your owner or director understanding the business growth plan. Now, some companies have a very structured business growth plan, maybe written down in a business growth planning document. But the vast majority of SMEs and micro businesses don't necessarily always have a written down plan. It's normally up here in the mind of the entrepreneur, in the mind of the owner of the business. So your job is to tap into that mind and to say, I need to know how this business is going to grow. I need to know, because if I'm going to recommend things back to you in terms of marketing and marketing spend, I want to make sure that my recommendations directly tie into your vision for this company, and specifically your vision for growing this company. That does 2 things. 1, it shows you have a level of commerciality to your planning and your thinking, which owners and directors will love. And number 2, it actually allows you to play back your ideas in line with the director's ideas, with the managing directors, the owner's ideas. And it's quite a clever, subtle psychological ploy. If you say to them, what's the growth plan? And they say, I need to grow revenue, and that's it. I'm not worried about profitability. And you present them a plan directly growing revenue, they're far more likely to be engaged with that. They're far more likely to go, yes, you're right, I'll give that a go. So make sure you integrate digital into the overall growth strategy for your business or organization. That's so important. Step number 4. Understand the importance of adopting an agile approach. So for anyone who doesn't know what agile means, there's 2 types of approach to project management. One is a more waterfall approach, which is a step-by-step, reach a milestone, sign it off, move on to the next milestone with a very clear end goal in mind, as in the campaign will be launched by the 1st of November, and that's it. And we're going to work backwards from that in milestones. A more agile approach is we're going to work in 1 or 2 weekly sprints. We're going to agree a work plan and a set of deliverables for that period, and then we're going to analyze the performance of that sprint at the end of the 1 or 2 week period. And that's a more agile approach. That's the term both of the project management methodology and also in terms of the mentality behind it. The idea is it potentially gives you a slightly more fluidity, slightly more ability to adapt and to change and to shift things as they maybe go wrong or maybe don't go quite as well as you was expecting. A more agile approach is key to rolling out an effective digital marketing strategy. So specifically, what I mean by that is, by all means have milestones, and by all means have goals, and by all means have dates for reviews and for analyzing the effectiveness of a particular campaign month. But make sure you have a very clear plan if things don't quite go as you expected, because they won't. I promise you they'll go a different way to what you expected, basically. The 4 steps in this 4th step: plan, execute, learn, optimize. So absolutely, I'm 100% advocating that you research your campaign. You research the digital marketing channel that you're going to adopt and you're going to launch. You understand as much as you can about that channel. You research, for example, if you're doing an AdWords pay-per-click campaign, you research the keywords, you research the target demographic, you plan as effectively as possible. Then you execute, step 2, get it live, get it running. Step number 3 in this sub-step, learn. Use every opportunity to get feedback, insights, and learnings from your campaign from day 1 right the way into the day you stop the campaign, and in fact beyond. Look for insights, look for trends, look for things that you can adopt rolling forward in the new campaign. Look for things that you can tweak in the immediacy to make sure your campaign is running as effectively as possible. But the key is to learn. Don't just see what's wrong, learn from the things that went wrong, which brings it on to 4, optimize, then optimize the campaign going forward. So your MD, your owner, will want you to be managing their money, their budget spend as tightly as possible. So if you say to your MD at the end of the trial period, say a 1-month trial period, I spent £1,000 this month, we've got X number of traffic, we've got X number of pounds revenue. I think that was good, but I want to cut that spend to £800 and I want to get the same amount of traffic because I'm going to optimize the campaign. Now, if you think of the psychology of that, you've just said to the owner of this business, I'm going to spend less than you gave me to make you the same amount of money back. That's going to be music to the ears of any business owner or MD. That's the foundation of kind of commerciality and running a successful business, keeping your costs low and boosting up your revenue to increase that gap, which is your profitability. It doesn't always happen like that. Frequently it's, I spent £1,000, we actually need to spend £2,000 next month in order to get the traffic and the revenue that we need. But the idea still stands that you have to adopt the approach of trying to get the best value from your campaign. And finally, number 5, get really, really good at both analyzing and presenting campaign results. So I'll break this down for you. Analyzing is basically part of the step number 4, how you analyze the results. But more specifically, what I'm trying to get you to think about is to go back to step number 3, which is thinking about the overall business growth goals. When you analyze your campaign, don't think in terms of traffic, don't think in terms of bounce rates and conversion rates. Think in terms of pounds, think in terms of brands, think in terms of the metrics that your owner, your managing director are actually focused on, they actually give a damn about. So analyze it in the right way is what I'm getting at for this 5th point. And when you've analyzed this data and you're ready to present, sadly, some of you aren't going to like this, but you've got to be really good at presenting. I don't necessarily mean in front of 1,000 people at a conference, but I do mean probably more like presenting in front of 5 to 10 people in a boardroom. Now, I know for a lot of people that's scary. That's like really scary. And don't get me wrong, 5 to 10 years ago, I was terrified when I was presenting in boardrooms, and it is a very scary experience. But you've got to be really, really good at presenting if you're going to become a successful leader. And if we think the definition of leadership potentially is becoming good enough at what you do so you can then train other people, I think you first need to become good at what you do. You need to become really good at presenting it so that your peers, your board members, your directors and owners go, you're good, that guy or gal knows what they're doing a really good job, they're thinking commercially, they're good at presenting, which is what you need to be a leader. I am ready to empower them to hire some staff and bring a marketing or sales team on underneath them. And that's how you get more leadership responsibility, by demonstrating your value, both in terms of delivering on your role and the leadership skills that you are presenting to the world every day. And that's the final point I just like to make, is leadership can only be demonstrated. You can't say I'm a great leader. It's very difficult to pretend you're a good leader. Leadership is demonstrated every day over a long-term period. Now, I say to my team here at Elephant Digital, the key to becoming a good leader is being good at training other people. So I encourage my team wherever possible to bring on interns and apprentices, so they can get really good at practicing, presenting and teaching and training the people underneath them. That's the definition for me of a really good leader. So I spend a lot of time here at Elephant Digital training my team, empowering my team, almost to the point of making myself redundant. And I think that's the key of good leadership. Have a vision, have a plan, execute the plan, train your team, empower your team, focus on building the brand, focus on executing a really good commercial strategy, and demonstrate value at every single point. Every day you should be striving to demonstrate value. That's what a good leader does. In 2019, I know a lot of people out there are worried and focused on how they create digital marketing campaigns, but I want to challenge you to combine those two things together. Combine that digital marketing knowledge with that leadership growth. I hope that was useful. I'm sorry I haven't posted in a long time. I promise I've got some fantastic guests coming up shortly in the marketing and digital and technology space. I will be posting back to once a week again from next week. Have a great day. And as always, please like, please share, please keep in touch. Thanks, guys. Bye.